Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Now listen to me now, y'all. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm gonna show you how foul this dude is, right? Rick, he sees his own son on TV wanted for attempted murder, right? They give all the details. You know how they do when they got somebody on TV talking about uh, arrested, made bond, flee, ran, didn't show up to court, all that old kind of stuff. Just dragging you through the mud. You know how they do. You know how they do. Because they try to make sure that the people understand that you dangerous, you scary. They better call if they see you. And if they do call, they're going to get a little change. They're going to get a little change, y'all. But see, Rick, he's still in contact with his son. He know how to get in touch with him. He know the numbers to call. He know where to get him, right? And don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. He don't reach out to his son the same way everybody else do. He making sure that he get through his son in a way to where they can't hear it. Because you got to imagine that if a person is wanted and they have a parent in prison, that the detective, the investigators, they're making sure when he goes to see his daddy, let's start to monitor his phone calls. Because when we call home, y'all, they monitor our phone calls. Like all the shows that I do when I call home, they hear these shows before y'all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope they like them too. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, they're monitoring Rick's phone calls because they're trying to get to him. This man is a wanted fugitive. He has shot two people. They are not playing with him. They're not gonna play. But this is what his daddy does, y'all. Listen to me now. When I tell you this, listen to what I'm trying to tell y'all. This is what he does, man. First, he calls the DA. And he tells the DA, he said, look, if I get my son to turn himself in, right, you keep the reward money. I don't want that. But I want some help in getting out of here a little early. So the DA said, look, we always welcome help. And we'll look into it, but I'm not going to make you any promises. But I'll do everything I can to help you get out a few years early. Okay? So Rick says, can I get that in writing? The DA says, do you know where he's at? Now keep in mind, you know, they're of course recording everything. They keep everything on tape. Don't ever think they don't. So he says, I may know where he's at. He said, if you get him to turn himself in without incident, we got a deal. And he said, I get this in writing. He said, but don't send it to the prison. Don't send it to the prison. I'm going to give you an address to send it to. And when it gets there and they read that to me, I'm going to get him to turn himself in, or I'm going to tell you where he's at. And you can go get it. But keep the reward. The DA says, you got a deal. So a few days later, Rick calls this girl that he's been messing with. She's got the papers. She's excited. He's excited. So then what he does, he gets one of his partners to get on their phone, not on his phone, and get their girl on the phone. And then they call her Tim on three-way. When they get Tim on the three-way, Rick's talking to him, said, look, son, don't play with these people. Don't play with these people. Because if you don't turn yourself in, they might kill you, man. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. So Tim is telling him what happened. He's laying out all the details to him, and he tells him, said, look, I understand that you're nervous and you're scared. I understand that. But right now, it's not the time for you to be scared. So Tim, like I say, he's spooked. He ain't been through it like this. He been through the thick, but he ain't been through it like this. He said, Daddy, can you call me back later? I gotta go. So he gets off the phone. So Rick goes and gets on his line now. And he makes a call to the DA. He said, I know where he's at. Now, the DA, not being a fool, he said, look, the agreement we made for you to tell us where he's at can get sweeter. If once he's in custody, you testify against him and tell us what he's told you. What we need to know is did he shoot him, what he told you, all this and that, right? You help us prosecute him, and then I can make the deal a little sweeter for you. And you won't have to be in there much longer. So Rick says immediately, yeah, I'll do that. The DA said, I'm writing it up right now. I'm going to have it sent to the same address. Give me a couple of days. So now Rick is not just turning his son in, he's become a witness against his son. He's become a witness against his son. So now he goes back on the phone, gets on the phone with his partner, and his girl calls Tim and gets him back on the phone, and they're talking to him. And now Rick is pumping him for information, trying to tell him what to do, this and that. But Tim has no idea that his dad is a state witness. He has no idea that his dad is finna testify against him once they get him into custody. Now keep in mind, he playing both angles. He's trying to get his son to turn himself in, and then after his son turns himself in, he's going to be testifying against him. You understand what I'm saying? This is going to get dirty because Rick is in the penitentiary. And penitentiary rules is what, y'all? Snitches get stitches, right? You would think. Come on now. You would think. But see, Rick ain't no fool either. He ain't no fool. And you're going to understand what I'm saying in a few minutes. But look, let's keep on with the story. So, Tim is starting to listen to his pops. He's listening to him. And he said, look, I'm going to turn myself in tomorrow. And he tells him what time and this and that. He said, man, go down there. And he said, man, I know a detective down there. Do you want me to get in touch with him? Tim says, no, don't do that. Don't do that. He said, I tell you what, when you get down there, just ask for this detective. He said, I'll do that. Go to the desk, put your hands up on the desk, and ask for the detective. Okay? Tim said, I'm going to do that. So he gets off the phone with his son. Tells his son he loves him, y'all. He gets off the phone with his son. He immediately calls the DA. He tells the DA, this is what's going to happen. My son is going to turn himself in at this time tomorrow at the police department, and he's going to tell him about detective such and such, right? I just made that name up. I don't know no detective name such and such. So when he comes down there, he says that, tell him to hold on a minute, and then y'all just make sure that don't hurt my son. He's really concerned about his son's safety now, y'all. You understand? Why is that? Because his son is his ticket to out of there. He got to care about it. He got to care about it. If something happens to his son, then he don't get no deal. Think about that. If his son, unfortunately, somehow, some way, end up shooting it out with the police and he gets killed, he don't have nobody to testify against. He don't get up out of there. You feel what I'm trying to tell you? The game is dirty and raw, y'all. So let me tell you now. Listen to me now. This is what happened. The next day, Tim go down and turn himself in. They got him arrested. You feel what I'm saying? Now, him and his dad are writing each other. Let me tell you how, on the next level of this, how raw this gets, y'all. The game is raw. I'm telling you, the game is raw. I don't think y'all understand how raw the game is. I don't think you understand the levels to the game, y'all. Because look here, let me tell you what Rick does after this. Now, see, penitentiary rules in effect. Snitches get stitches. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, don't nobody care about how tall you are when you get down to crawl on your belly. You understand? They'll fade you because they see snitching as a weakness. They smell it. It's fear. What you working with the police for? Don't get it. Because see, when you build your reputation up to where you that dude, and then all of a sudden they smell blood in the water, them sharks smelling blood in the water, they can get a reputation of, I took him down. Oh yeah, they on that? They all on that. So here we go. Check this out. This is what they did. So Rick, he writing Tim at the jail, back and forth, right? He telling Tim, he said, look, man, take low and go. The case is weak. If they offer you some time, take it. Don't go to trial. Why is that important, y'all? Now, anybody, if you listen to the show, you've been to the penitentiary before, you took your case to trial before, you know why that's important. But if you don't know why, let me tell you why, y'all. This is why this is important. Because if he takes a plea, then Rick don't have to do what? He don't have to testify. He don't have to testify. So day one, when Tim's lawyer comes down there, he said, man, can you get me a plea? Tim's lawyer looks at him and said, I think I can. Are you sure? I'm going to go work on it. He said, yeah. He said, tell me what you'll take. He said, I don't know. You just tell me what's a good plea. He said, man, I think I can get you 25. 25? I don't want to do no 25. You got to think about Tim. Now, he's in his 20s now. 25, he be in his late 40s then. But the lawyer tell him, he said, look, if we go to trial, you're going to get way more than that. You might not ever get out. You understand? That's not true, but that's how they scare you. He got 2 attempted murder charges, not murder. You understand what I'm saying? You feel me? Y'all follow what I'm saying? So now Tim is spooked because he ain't been through this. So he writes his dad. He said, Daddy, this is what I was told. This is what they told me. Blah, 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 blah. His daddy write back, that's a good deal. You need to take that. So Tim, he waits till his lawyer comes back down there again. When his lawyer comes back down there, he tell him, did you get me a plea? He said, I'm talking to the DA about it. He said, but I think I can get you that quarter. So Tim, like most people, he been in the jail a little while now. And he's hearing from these other guys in the jail. And I'm going to tell you something. Don't be listening to too many of them dudes at the jail because some of them sour. They be trying to work angles and get deals too. But one of them did tell him, he said, look, man, if they offer you 25, tell them you'll take 20. Try to get it down. So when the lawyer came and talked to him after he talked to the DA, he said, I can get you that quarter. He said, can you try to give me 20? If you give me 20, I'll take it today. The lawyer said, hold up, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to talk to the DA and I'm going to see if we can get that 20. And if I can, I'll be back today. Guess what happened? He go down there and he get that 20. He comes back. Tim signs the papers. It's over. It's over. Now check this out. Because he took a plea, it don't nullify the deal that Rick had with the DA. It didn't nullify it at all. In fact, the DA was so appreciative. He told him, he said, I'm going to stick to everything I said. We're going to help you because we know that you helped us in a good way. They didn't care that Rick, if he had changed or not. They didn't care at all about that. They wanted to get his son off the streets. You feel what I'm saying? And Rick helped him. So now, Tim is on his way to the penitentiary. Woo! On his way to the penitentiary. Guess where he's going, though? Same penitentiary as his daddy. Because his daddy pulled some strings on that. He got to keep his eyes on him now. You feel me? He don't need him getting around the wrong people that might tell him something that he can try to figure out and find out that his daddy was going to testify against him. So he got to keep him close to him. It's keep your enemies close. You understand what I'm saying? His own son had become his enemy subconsciously because he could hurt him. He could hurt him. It ain't about love no more. This is about self-preservation. Y'all ain't hearing me. Because I don't think none of y'all knew the game would get this wrong. Y'all ain't hearing me. So now they get him up there with his daddy. Now they become sellers. They in the cell together chilling. They sellers, y'all. They sellers. And that's going to be a real, real challenge right there. Because see, when you were sellers with somebody, you get comfortable. And when you get comfortable, sometimes you slip up and you say things you ain't got no business. You got to be careful. And you got to sell it. What you say, what you do. Because both sides, nobody forgets what's said and done in that sale. That's where you're comfortable. That's where you got to be comfortable. And I'm going to tell you about how they coexisted as sellers, father and son, in the next episode. And again, this episode is going to follow right behind. The episode I'm about to do is going to follow right behind this episode, so don't trip. Don't trip. You're going to get another 2 for 1. Okay? You're going to get another 2 for 1. I'm going to keep it real with you. And I think you're going to enjoy it. So make sure you tune in an hour. You're going to enjoy it. In 1 hour, tune in to this next one. Okay? Check out the book and keep in mind the movie's on the way. You feel what I'm saying? Rivals, it's on the way now. I'm telling y'all, we're making history. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. And I say peace, y'all.